Hello, Sandy employees. Welcome to the Employee Handbook training. We are grateful for your service here at Sandy. We have prepared this handbook training to review important policies for you to be aware of. Please read through it thoroughly and retain it for future reference. In the introduction of the handbook, we have provided some information about the history of Sandy City. The most recent population estimate for Sandy City is 93,002 citizens. Sandy City's mission is working together to enhance the quality of life in our community. We have the acronym of ASPIRE to show our values: accountability, safety and security, people-focused, integrity, respect, and excellence. We proudly welcome you to our team. We are confident that through your efforts and dedication, the city will continue to make advances in finding new and better ways to serve the public. Part 2. Employment Policies. Sandy City is an equal opportunity employer. Sandy City hires on the basis of the ability to perform a position's essential functions without regard to race, color, religion, sex, pregnancy, childbirth, or pregnancy-related conditions, national origin, age, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, genetics, protected veteran status, or any other class protected by applicable federal, state, and local employment laws. The city expressly prohibits any form of unlawful employee harassment or discrimination based on the preceding factors. Sexual harassment. The city regards sexual harassment as a very serious matter. Sexual harassment is prohibited in the workplace or among the workforce by any person and in any form. This will be covered in more detail in the discrimination and harassment training that all employees are required to complete at the time of hire and periodically during their employment. Complaint procedure. Each employee is responsible for creating an atmosphere free of discrimination and harassment, and for respecting the rights of their coworkers. If you feel you have been subjected to or witnessed any job-related harassment based on sex, race, or any other protected characteristic listed above, or believe you or someone else has been treated in an unlawful or discriminatory manner, you shall file an oral or written complaint of harassment, discrimination, or retaliation, or all of the above, with the Division of Human Resources, your immediate supervisor, and any other supervisor within your direct chain of command. The city prohibits any form of retaliation against you for filing a complaint under this policy or for assisting in a complaint investigation. Medical examinations. Final applicants for hire in designated positions are required to undergo physical examinations after a conditional offer of employment has been made. Employees in the designated positions may also undergo periodic evaluations. The locations that an employee can go for these medical examinations are listed on the top of page 6. Please be aware that the hours for the Salt Lake WorkMed have changed. The clinic now closes at 5:30 p.m. Employment of relatives. Under certain conditions, Sandy City restricts, and in some cases prohibits, the hiring and promotion of current employees' relatives to avoid actual or perceived conflicts of interest. The city will exercise sound business judgment in the placement of related employees in accordance with Utah State Code sections 52-3-1 through 52-3-4. A relative is defined in the paragraph below. Personnel files. The city maintains personnel files on each employee. These files contain documentation regarding all aspects of your tenure in the city, such as performance appraisals, beneficiary designation forms, disciplinary warning notices, and letters of commendation. If you are interested in reviewing your file, please visit the Human Resources Office. Termination of employment. If you desire to terminate your employment relationship with Sandy City, you are urged to notify the city at least 2 weeks in advance of your intended termination. Such notice should preferably be given in writing to your supervisor and department head. Proper notice generally allows the city sufficient time to calculate accrued PTO, overtime, if applicable, and/or other monies to which you may be entitled, and to include such monies in your final paycheck. You are urged to provide the city with a minimum of 2 months' notice when you are nearing retirement. Employees may be allowed to continue coverage on the city's medical plan through COBRA as described in this section. Job abandonment. Any employee who is absent from work without giving notification and was capable of giving notification may be disciplined for failure to report to work. Discipline may include, but is not limited to, termination. In rare situations, an employee may be absent from work due to a medical emergency or other unforeseen circumstances which keep the employee from providing timely notice of the absence. In such instances, the employee or the employee's representative should contact the supervisor as soon as possible to explain the situation. Part 3. Compensation Policies. Classification of employment. For purposes of employee recruitment, hiring and separation, salary administration, and eligibility for employee benefits, the city classifies its employees. The classification chart is found on page 9. Regular pay procedures and paydays. You will normally be paid on a biweekly basis, usually on Fridays. Please note that if a scheduled payday falls on a city-observed holiday, you will usually be paid on the day preceding the holiday. Please take note of the December 30th pay date. This is the third payday of December, so none of your deductions will be taken out of that check. All other third paydays are marked with a plus sign as well. Lunch periods and rest breaks. Each employee working at least an 8-hour day is entitled to a 1-hour unpaid lunch period. A 30-minute unpaid lunch may be taken with department head approval. Part-time employees working 5 or more hours a day are entitled to at least a 30-minute unpaid lunch period. However, your department head may approve a longer lunch. Employees are not allowed to skip their lunch period in order to arrive at work late or leave work early, except in accordance with Sandy City Operations Manual Subject 2.11.5, Exercise Time, or unless approved by the department head. Each employee is also entitled to a 15-minute paid rest break around the midpoint of each 4-hour segment worked. Please work with your supervisor on your scheduling. Recording work hours. To ensure that accurate records are kept of the hours you actually work and of the leave time you have taken, all non-exempt employees are required to record time worked and absences on your department's timekeeping records. Exempt employees should enter their time as their default schedule unless there is an exception for leave. Employees are responsible to make sure that all hours worked and leave time taken are recorded accurately. Failure to accurately record your hours may result in discipline up to and including termination. We have provided a link to the employee portal where you can view your pay stubs and an example of an employee pay stub on page 11. Adjusted work schedules. In an effort to provide flexibility, reduce expense, and to address concerns that may exist due to extenuating circumstances, Sandy City is supportive of adjusted work schedules, such as condensed work weeks, for example a 410 work schedule, and part-time remote working from home when the duties of the job allow for it as determined by the department head. Department heads will evaluate requests for an adjusted work schedule in terms of the effect on the department and the ability to provide high-quality internal and external customer service. Adjusted work schedules are a privilege, not an entitlement, and may be adjusted or canceled at any time by a department head. Condensed work weeks. Any employee interested in a condensed work week schedule should discuss your options with your direct supervisor. Schedules must be conducive with overtime laws and must be compatible with the city's payroll and timekeeping systems. A condensed work week arrangement does not change the terms and conditions of employment with Sandy City and may be adjusted or canceled at any time by a department head. Remote work. Any employee interested in remote working should discuss your options with your direct supervisor. Any employee who remote works will still be required to work in the office or other signed work site at least 3 days per week. Exceptions under extraordinary circumstances may be made by the department head after consultation with the Human Resources Director. Additionally, with supervisor approval, exceptions to the policy may be made for employees who are ill in order to avoid spreading the illness in the workplace. Similar to expectations for the official worksite, the following standards will also be expected of employees while remote working. An employee must have the appropriate equipment including a telephone, a computer with internet access, a suitable workspace, and any other job-appropriate equipment. Sandy will not reimburse for personal costs incurred from remote working. but may elect to provide work equipment to assist you in remote working. If on video calls, dress and computer backgrounds should be professional. While remote working, employees will be required to forward their work phone to their personal phone during work hours to ensure high-quality customer service standards are maintained. The quality of customer service should be seamless. There should be no difference in the quality of timeliness or customer service responses while remote working. The quality and quantity of work performed by the employees must not be negatively impacted by the arrangement. A remote work arrangement does not change the terms and conditions of employment with Sandy City. When remote working, you will be expected to adhere to all applicable laws, rules, and policies regarding information security and maintaining a safe work environment. You will also be expected to follow all city and department policies just as if you were in the workspace, including attendance and overtime policies. You will be compensated appropriately for all time worked, leave, and travel just as if you were in the workspace. Employees who work remotely may be required to come into the workplace as needed and are expected to be working and available for contact by supervisors during all normal work hours. Employees should work with their supervisors to ensure that all work expectations are being met and that there is regular communication between the employee and supervisor. A remote working arrangement may be adjusted or canceled at any time by department head. Overtime pay procedures. Your position is classified as either FLSA non-exempt or FLSA exempt. Those who are FLSA non-exempt are covered by the minimum wage and overtime provisions of the Fair Labor Standards Act, or FLSA. Those who are FLSA exempt are protected from improper or illegal salary deductions. The chart for when firefighters, police, and general employees begin to earn overtime can be found on page 13. If you feel it is necessary to work overtime, you must get prior approval from your department head. It is also your responsibility to ensure that all hours worked are recorded in the correct work period. Salary programs. Sandy City is committed to maintaining wage ranges which are competitive with other Wasatch Front communities of comparable size. Annually, the Human Resources Office conducts a wage and benefits survey of the relevant communities. Please remember that total compensation consists of not just salary, but also benefits and retirement. Some fringe benefits, such as meals, may be considered taxable income. Pay for performance. To ensure that you perform your job to the best of your abilities, Sandy City strives to recognize good performance and to give you appropriate suggestions for improvement when necessary. Consistent with this goal, your performance will be evaluated by your supervisor, and you will receive a written evaluation at least annually. Part 4. Leave. Each year, the city provides the following 12 paid holidays to all appointed, regular, and part-time benefited employees. Part-time benefited employees receive holiday pay according to the number of hours the employee is regularly scheduled to work. If the holiday occurs on a part-time benefited employee's regularly scheduled day off, the employee may take their holiday on the nearest regularly scheduled workday in the same period, if approved by their supervisor. The list of holidays is found on page 15. Please note that holidays that fall on a weekend will be taken on a Friday if the holiday is on a Saturday, or Monday if the actual date is Sunday. These holidays have been marked with asterisks. Some employees are required to work on holidays and will receive their holiday hours as a bank of leave to be scheduled yearly with PTO. Accrual amounts are shown in this section. There is also information on the mayor's holiday in this section. Sandy City follows Utah State Code regarding the observance of Juneteenth National Freedom Day. The Juneteenth National Freedom Day holiday is on June 19th, if that day is on a Monday. If June 19th is on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, the Juneteenth National Freedom Day holiday is on the immediately preceding Monday. If June 19th is on a Saturday or Sunday, the Juneteenth National Freedom holiday is on the immediately following Monday. Paid time off. The city grants annual paid time off, or PTO, to its appointed, regular, and part-time benefited employees. The amount of PTO you accrue annually is based on your length of service since your hire date. Specific amounts are listed in the chart on page 16. In the event of extended or numerous absences due to illness, you may be required by your supervisor to submit a medical statement from the attending physician. If your absence is due to an emergency, you or a member of your immediate family should inform your supervisor as soon as it is practical. Please note that the city offers PTO cash out and PTO payout at separation. Americans with Disabilities Act. The Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, and the Americans with Disabilities Amendments Act, or ADAAA, are federal laws that require certain employers to not discriminate against applicants and employees with disabilities and, when needed, to provide reasonable accommodations to applicants and employees who are qualified for a job, with or without reasonable accommodations, so that they may perform the essential job duties of the position. It is the policy of Sandy City to comply with all federal and state laws concerning the employment of persons with disabilities and to act in accordance with regulations and guidance issued by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or EEOC. Furthermore, it is the city's policy not to discriminate against qualified individuals with disabilities in regard to application procedures, hiring, advancement, discharge, compensation, training or other terms, conditions, and privileges of employment. Please contact Human Resources with any questions or requests for accommodation. Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. The Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, or PWFA, is a federal law that requires the city to provide reasonable accommodations to qualified applicants and employees with known limitations related to pregnancy, childbirth, or related medical conditions, unless the accommodation would impose an undue hardship on city business operations. It is the policy of Sandy City to comply with all federal and state laws concerning the employment of pregnant workers and to act in accordance with regulations and guidance issued by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Furthermore, it is the city's policy not to discriminate, retaliate, coerce, intimidate, threaten, or interfere with a pregnant applicant or employee's request or use of an accommodation. Please contact Human Resources with any questions or requests for accommodation. Short-term medical leave. The city recognizes that the inability to work because of extended illness or injury may cause economic hardship. For this reason, the city provides short-term medical leave to appointed, regular, and part-time benefited employees. STML should not be used for purposes other than extended illness or injury. We have included a chart on page 17 indicating the annual accrual and maximum accrual of STML for each classification of employee. In order to use STML, an employee must first use 80 hours of PTO or other leave. If there is more than one event in the calendar year, an employee will only need to use 40 hours of other leave for each subsequent event. Employees must also apply for STML by completing the STML application form available through Human Resources. Access to STML will not begin until the completed application has been submitted to Human Resources. Family and medical leave. In order to be eligible for Family and Medical Leave, or FMLA, you must have been a Sandy City employee for 12 months and you must have worked 1,250 hours for the city in the past 12 months prior to the commencement of the leave. Eligible employees are entitled to 12 weeks of paid or unpaid job-protected family and medical leave within the calculated leave year for the reasons listed on page 18. We've also included information on military caregiver leave, intermittent leave, notice of leave, employer responsibilities, concurrent leave, maintenance of benefits, married couples working for Sandy City, and return from leave. If you are going to take time off for something that would qualify for FMLA, please contact Human Resources ahead of time to get the appropriate paperwork. Additionally, the city may contact the employee to complete FMLA paperwork if an employee is absent for 3 days, or one set for sworn fire personnel, and if the city receives additional information suggesting an employee may qualify for FMLA. If an employee is eligible for FMLA and is receiving a workers' compensation lost wage benefit, only the time not compensated by workers' compensation will be counted as FMLA time. Bereavement leave. If you are an appointed or regular employee, you may be granted up to 24 hours paid work time in the event of the death of any of the family members listed within this section. In the event of miscarriage or stillbirth under Utah state law, all Sandy City employees shall be granted 3 paid work days in the following instances. The employee's pregnancy is ended by way of miscarriage or stillbirth. The employee is the spouse or partner of an individual whose pregnancy is ended by way of miscarriage or stillbirth. The employee is the former spouse or partner of an individual whose pregnancy is ended by way of miscarriage or stillbirth, and the employee would have been a biological parent of a child born as a result of the pregnancy. The employee provides documentation to show that the individual whose pregnancy is ended by way of miscarriage or stillbirth intended for the employee to be the adoptive parent of a child as a result of the pregnancy. Under a valid gestational agreement, the employee would have been a parent of a child born as a result of the pregnancy. Jury duty and witness leave. If you are an appointed, regular, or part-time benefited employee who is summoned to jury duty, the city will continue your salary during your active period of jury duty for up to a maximum of 15 working days per calendar year, if you either sign over your jury pay to the city or take PTO and keep the jury pay. Military leaves of absence. Employees who enter the service of a uniformed service of the United States, involuntarily or voluntarily, shall be entitled to be absent from their duties and service from the city without pay as required by federal and state laws. Appointed, regular, and part-time benefited employees called to reserve or National Guard training or other short-term assignments, or to active duty, or who volunteer for the same, may be granted up to 100 hours of paid military leave, prorated for part-time employees, per calendar year. When taking military leave, you are required to provide written or verbal notification to your supervisor and human resources as soon as it is practical, preferably by submitting a copy of your military orders. If requesting to use paid military leave, you must submit to Human Resources a paid military leave application and a copy of your orders or other applicable documentation identifying the estimated leave date, the intended return date, your military compensation for active duty only, and any required payroll deduction decisions. Paid military leave will not be granted retroactively and will not begin until the completed application, including all necessary documentation, has been approved by Human Resources. The military leave application is available on the employee intranet or by contacting Human Resources. Donation of leave. City employees may make voluntary donations of accrued hours of PTO leave to fellow employees within the same department for the purpose of supplementing STML. For further information on the donation of leave, please contact Human Resources or refer to Sandy City Operations Manual 2.11.3. Leave without pay. This part of the handbook describes various types of paid leave offered to appointed, regular, and part-time benefited employees. Employees are advised to accumulate leave to have available for unexpected reasons such as vacation opportunities, family events, injury, or illness. Reasons an employee may take leave without pay are listed on pages 22 to 23. Unpaid leave can be taken for other medical absences of up to 40 hours per incident when the department head determines that absence will not adversely impact operations. Part 5. Employer Benefits. At Sandy City, we are committed to offering the best benefits possible as part of your total compensation package. Benefit charts are listed on pages 25 and 26 of the handbook. Page 25 has the chart for Tier 1 employees, and page 26 has the chart for Tier 2 employees. These charts have been updated to reflect the current plan year. This section of the handbook is meant to highlight some features of Sandy City's benefits programs. The group health, life insurance, and retirement-related programs are described more fully in the annual benefits guide, which you will receive once you are eligible to participate in these programs. It is also available on the employee intranet. For complete information regarding any of the benefits programs, please contact Human Resources. Sandy City pays 100% of the medical premium for full-time employees. Part-time employees who are eligible for the medical plan are required to pay a portion of the premium. We currently have 2 medical networks, Advantage Star and Summit Star, offered through PEHP. Information about these networks, medical plan rates for the current year, and the contact information for PEHP are on pages 27 and 28 of the handbook. Retirement Medical Plan. If, at the time of retirement, an employee has 20 years of benefit-eligible service with Sandy City and meets the retirement eligibility criteria of Utah retirement systems, the employee, along with their spouse and eligible dependents, may elect to continue health coverage through the city's insurance plans for up to 5 years or until Medicare eligible, whichever is shorter. Sandy City also contracts for an on-site health clinic located on the 2nd floor of City Hall, in which employees and their family members can obtain quality medical care. The cost of an office visit is just $34. A summary of services offered at the on-site clinic is on page 29. The city's dental insurance is provided through Emeritus. You can choose from 2 dental plans, or you can opt out of coverage. Sandy City pays 100% of the base plan premium for full-time employees. Part-time employees who are eligible for the dental plan are required to pay a portion of the premium. Emeritus's contact information is listed at the top of page 30. The plan rates are in the chart at the bottom of the same page and have been updated to reflect the current plan year. A summary chart for medical insurance for this plan year and the retiree medical insurance chart are available on pages 31 and 32 of the handbook. Reimbursement accounts. This section provides information about the different reimbursement accounts available to benefited city employees. These accounts are administered by Health Equity. Their updated contact information is available on page 32. Please contact Human Resources with specific questions about enrollment or eligible reimbursements. The flexible spending account amounts have been updated to $3,050 to reflect the new federal limits. Life insurance. All eligible employees of Sandy City have a life insurance policy paid by the city while working for the city. Information about core life insurance benefits and voluntary supplemental coverage are listed on pages 34 and 35, as well as the information for One America, our life insurance provider. Sandy City also provides a long-term disability program that is designed to pay part of your income should you become disabled. The mayor, appointed, regular, and part-time benefited employees are eligible for disability insurance. All eligible Sandy City employees are enrolled for disability insurance at the time of hire. We also use One America for long-term disability insurance. Medicare and Social Security. Sandy City participates in the federal Medicare system, but not in the federal Social Security program. All employees hired after March 31st, 1986 are required to participate in Medicare by contributing 1.45% of gross earnings each pay period. The city matches this contribution. Workers' compensation. An injury or significant illness can create a variety of physical, emotional, and financial problems. Sandy City is committed to helping employees who have sustained work-related injuries or illnesses and providing the workers' compensation benefit prescribed by law. The following information has been prepared to help you understand these benefits. Please read it carefully and do not hesitate to talk with your supervisor or employees from the Risk Management Office if you have further questions. The lost wage benefit has been updated to $1,130 a week to reflect the current year. If an employee is eligible for FMLA and is receiving a workers' compensation lost wage benefit, only the time not compensated by workers' compensation will be counted as FMLA. Please note that all work-related injuries must be reported immediately to your supervisor, and the appropriate paperwork filled out as described in this section. If you require medical attention, it is important that you use one of the city's workers' compensation medical providers, which are listed on pages 37 and 38. The hours for the Salt Lake WorkMed have changed, so please be sure to check those hours. Retirement plans. The city contributes a percentage of base pay into retirement for employees. Eligible employees are automatically enrolled in the Utah retirement system, and employees can opt to also participate in other voluntary retirement plans, which we will discuss next. 401k plans. Appointed, regular, and part-time benefited employees are eligible to participate in the Mission Square Retirement 401k plan. Employees who are active in the Utah retirement system may participate in the URS 401k plan. The city also provides Tier 2 employees a Social Security replacement program by matching an employee's 401k contributions up to 3% of pay into either a Mission Square Retirement 401k or a URS 401k. The Mission Square website has been updated as well. Tier 2 public safety employees participating in the hybrid plan also receive an additional contribution into their 401k plans. This contribution amount has been updated with the current rates. We also have provided information summarizing the 401k loan plan and how to make withdrawals from your 401k account, as well as which contributions can be withdrawn due to hardship. 457 plans. All employees may participate in the Mission Square Retirement 457 plan, and employees who are active in the Utah retirement system may participate in the URS 457 plan. Money in the account will be taxed when it is withdrawn at retirement, termination, or in case of emergency. Retiree Health Savings Program. Employees who have Retiree Health Savings, or RHS accounts, will have access to their RHS account at the time of separation from the city to pay for unreimbursed medical expenses for themselves and their family, or to pay for retirement health insurance premiums if eligible. Please check the benefits guide or contact Human Resources for contact information for Mission Square Retirement. Employee Assistance Program. The city recognizes that a wide range of problems, such as marital or family distress, alcoholism, drug abuse, not directly associated with your job function, can nonetheless be detrimental to an employee's performance on the job. Consequently, we believe it is in the interest of you and the city to provide an effective program to assist employees and their families in resolving problems such as these as the need arises. Sandy City Employee Assistance Program, or EAP, provides consultation services for referrals to local community treatment sources. Your visits to the EAP are held in confidence. The information you share is between you and the counselor. Contact information for the EAP is on page 42. Education Reimbursement Program. The city has established an education assistance program to help eligible employees develop their skills and upgrade their performance. All appointed and regular employees are eligible to participate in the program. Employees are eligible to receive up to $2,000 per fiscal year. The reimbursement chart can be found just below the section heading. Employees must submit a copy of their official transcript to Human Resources indicating grade received and proof of payment to receive reimbursement. Please note that employees who voluntarily terminate within 1 year of receiving tuition reimbursement will be required to reimburse the city. Wellness Program. The city offers a wellness program to encourage employees to stay physically fit and maintain good health. Employees receive a family membership to the Alta Canyon Sports Center and a discounted pass to River Oaks Golf Course for walking the course. Other benefits include health screenings, flu shots, and the following reimbursements and rewards. The city reimburses for gym memberships, sporting and fitness activities, weight loss programs, smoking cessation, and fitness trackers. Reimbursement forms are available on the employee intranet. Please contact the Human Resources Office for more details on these programs. Part 6. Employee Conduct. As an integral member of the Sandy City team, you are expected to accept certain responsibilities, adhere to acceptable business principles in matters of personal conduct, and exhibit a high degree of personal integrity at all times. This not only involves sincere respect for the rights and feelings of others, but also demands that you refrain from any behavior that might be harmful to you, your coworkers, and/or the city, or that might be viewed unfavorably by current or potential customers or by the public at large. Some of these duties include the duty to act lawfully, the duty of ethical conduct and loyalty to the city, duty to promote work efficiency and morale, and duty of service to the general public. Ethics Act and Conflict of Interest. This section heading has been updated to match other policies and state code, and clarify that this section deals with employee ethics and conflicts of interest. The ethical standards of conduct on pages 45 and 46 apply to all elected and appointed officers and all regular, part-time, and seasonal employees. Please review them carefully. As part of a commitment to ethical conduct, Sandy City Human Resources requires employees to participate in annual ethics training. Your duty of loyalty to the city requires you to avoid any conflict with the city's interests. The city cannot articulate every situation which creates or constitutes a conflict of interest. However, in general, a conflict of interest arises in any situation in which you are in a position to derive personal benefit for yourself or others from the actions you take or the decisions you make in your official employment capacity. Your duty of loyalty requires you to act in the interest of the city and not for your own personal gain or for the personal interest of others. Additionally, state code requires public employees to disclose potential conflicts of interest, as described in this section. Disclosures are filled out at the time of hire and on an annual basis. Employees should also submit a disclosure at other times if your position in a qualifying business changes or the value of your interest in a qualifying business increases. Information reporting and whistleblowing. Whistleblowing. As a public employee, you have a responsibility to formally inform appropriate administrative officials if you become aware of or reasonably suspect the waste of public funds, property, manpower, or a violation of law relating to your employment. If that is the case, you may report the incident to the mayor, chief administrative officer, department heads, division heads, human resources director, city attorney, or you may notify the state auditor. Improper disclosure and spreading of rumors. You are responsible for refraining from spreading information which is hostile to city operations or other employees which you know, or have reason to know is malicious, false, or frivolous. You are also not to disclose or induce others to disclose confidential information acquired due to your position. You are not allowed to use confidential information for your gain, benefit, or purposes. Assisting in investigations. You have a duty to participate in an investigation, hearing, inquiry, or other form of administrative review by the city arising from a report of the existence of any waste of public funds, property, manpower, or violation of law as may be requested by city officials. Outside employment. Some types of outside employment may create a conflict of interest with your city job or interfere with your performance in your city position. If you wish to take a second job, you should discuss it with your supervisor. Employment references. Except for law enforcement background checks, sought pursuant to Utah Code 53-14, and personal references as defined below, all employment reference requests shall be directed to department heads, Human Resources Director, or their designee. Only department heads, Human Resources Director, or their designee is authorized to provide an employment reference for past or current city employees. All law enforcement background checks, pursuant to Utah Code 53-14, shall be directed to the Sandy City Police Chief or their designee. Only the Sandy City Police Chief or their designee is authorized to provide this background information specified in Utah Code. Information released by the Chief or their designee shall be limited to the background information specified in Utah Code 53-14-103 (3) and made in accordance with Utah Code 53-14-103 1 and 2. Any unauthorized employee providing reference or background information on behalf of the city or the chief in the case of a background check pursuant to Utah Code 53-14 is subject to disciplinary action up to and including termination. If you have knowledge of a past or current city employee applying for employment at another entity and are asked by an employee of that entity about the employee, even in a casual conversation, You cannot share any information. The city is not responsible for the contents of any employment reference or background information provided by any unauthorized person. Personal reference means an employment reference provided in response to an express request by another past or current employee. A personal reference must disclose to the recipient that the reference is not provided on behalf of the city or the Sandy City Police Department in the case of a background check pursuant to Utah Code 53-14. The city is not responsible for the contents of any personal reference. Distribution of literature and solicitation of gifts. In the interest of maintaining a proper business environment and preventing interference with work and the inconvenience of others, distribution of literature or printed materials of any kind and selling merchandise during work time is restricted. An employee must receive permission from the department director to place literature in designated areas within the department. Do not place personal solicitations, information, or announcements on the network computer system. Non-employees are likewise prohibited from distributing material or soliciting employees on city premises at any time. Computer and network use. In order to protect and secure the IT system, all employees must adhere to the rules on pages 48 through 49 at all times. Information regarding how the network can be accessed by personal or city devices can be found in this section. Questions regarding this policy and how it impacts your position should be directed to your supervisor or the IT division. Workplace violence. Sandy City is committed to preventing workplace violence and to maintaining a safe work environment for employees, vendors, and the visiting public. Therefore, the city prohibits violent behavior. Prohibited conduct includes, but is not limited to, unlawful violent acts, fighting, stalking, harassment, intimidation, abusive language, or other similar violent conduct. The city does not tolerate any of the aforementioned conduct, unlawful threats of violence, or actual violence in any form. Employee gun use. Some employees wish to carry a gun for personal protection. If an employee does so, they must understand the following. State law restricts some individuals from carrying a gun in certain government locations, for example, the Justice Court and the Police Department. Additionally, with regard to using a gun, police officers, prosecutors, judges, the Justice Court Administrator, SWAT medics, and authorized fire investigators who have received firearms training satisfactory to the Chief of Police are the only city employees authorized to use deadly force while acting for and in behalf of Sandy City. Under no circumstances will any other employee use deadly force as a function of their job with the city, and if such employee uses deadly force, they will not have the immunities or be entitled the indemnity afforded trained employees in the authorized positions listed above. Tobacco use. In order to maintain a safe and comfortable working environment, tobacco and e-cigarette usage in city offices, facilities, and vehicles is prohibited. Drug-free workplace. It is the policy of the city to create a drug-free workplace in keeping with the spirit and intent of the local government entity Drug-Free Workplace, Utah Code Title 34, Chapter 41. The misuse of controlled substances or alcohol is inconsistent with the behavior expected of employees, subjects all employees and visitors to our facilities to unacceptable safety risks, and undermines the city's ability to operate effectively and efficiently. Sandy City requires drug testing for the following reasons. When a conditional offer of employment is made, when an employee is promoted to a new position, when there is reasonable suspicion of drug and/or alcohol use, after an accident when your vehicle is in motion or your equipment is in operation, unless testing is waived by your department head. Sandy City will also perform random testing for individuals not required to have a CDL who perform safety-sensitive duties for the city. These are police, fire, employees who have responsibility for the supervision of minor children, and employees with access to controlled substances. Employees are required to inform the supervisor anytime they are taking prescription or over-the-counter drugs which could impair their ability to safely perform assigned duties. Employees shall not report to work under the influence of alcohol or drugs. If you are arrested or convicted for a violation of a drug or alcohol offense, you must notify the city in writing within 5 days of the arrest or conviction. See pages 50 through 52 for additional conduct requirements relating to drugs and alcohol. As a reminder, you are not to use alcohol or be under the influence of alcohol within 4 hours before reporting to work. Please remember that you are not to manufacture, distribute, dispense, possess, or use controlled substances or alcohol in the workplace or while engaged in city business off the city premises. In addition, if you are arrested or convicted of a controlled substance or alcohol-related violation, you must inform your department head no later than 5 calendar days after such conviction or arrest. Workplace searches. In order to safeguard the property of our employees, our customers, and the city, and to help prevent the possession, use, and sale of illegal drugs on city premises, the city reserves the right to question employees and all other persons entering and leaving our premises, and to inspect any packages, parcels, purses, handbags, briefcases, lunchboxes, or any other possessions or articles carried to and from the city's property. Safety and health. Sandy City is committed to providing a safe and healthy working environment. You are expected, as a part of the comprehensive safety and loss prevention program, to place safe work practices and identification of unsafe conditions in highest priority while performing your daily tasks. Your safety commitment must include, but is not limited to, the items listed in this section. You may not operate any vehicle or other equipment in an impaired state. Any injuries and accidents must be reported immediately to your supervisor. Hazardous condition reporting. As a city employee, city administration asks that you make it a practice to be aware of potentially dangerous situations that you see throughout the city, whether you are on or off duty. Report any problems to the appropriate department. Injury and accident reporting. All work-related accidents must be reported immediately to your supervisor. Traffic accidents resulting in damages of $2,500 or more must be reported to law enforcement. Your supervisor will let you know if drug and/or alcohol testing is required. Also, make sure to submit appropriate forms and paperwork to the Risk Management Office. City vehicle use. If you drive a city vehicle, you must have a valid Utah driver's license and a good driving record. You are responsible for checking the fluid levels and overall condition of the vehicle daily. If there is anything that needs to be repaired, you are to take the vehicle to the fleet shop at the Public Works facility, unless it is unsafe to do so, in which case you should call fleet. Employees who drive a city vehicle should familiarize themselves with the city's idling policy. In addition, you shall not operate or allow any employee to operate any vehicle in an impaired state. Personal vehicle use. Many city officials and employees are required or expected to travel on city business using their personal automobiles. It is not always practical or cost-effective to provide employees with a city vehicle. Sandy City will reimburse you for when you use your personal automobile while on city business at the current IRS authorized rate. Your department or division head must authorize personal vehicle travel in advance. Safety belt use. All vehicle occupants must use available safety belts and shoulder restraints at all times while traveling on city business in any vehicle being used for conducting city business. It is your responsibility to ensure that your safety belt system is maintained so that they are clean, easily accessible, and in good working order. All employees are encouraged to wear safety belts at all times. City-owned cell phone use. It is the policy of Sandy City Corporation to provide city-owned cellular phones to selected personnel for the convenience of the city and employees in the performance of their official duties. City-owned cellular phones are intended for city business. Employee-owned cell phone use. As a Sandy City employee, you may be eligible for government employee discounts with your cellular service. Contact your cell phone provider to see if they participate in giving a government discount. Supervisor and subordinate relationships. Sandy City does not permit romantic relationships or dating between supervisors and subordinates. For purposes of this policy, a supervisor includes any supervisor within the same line of authority as the subordinate, or any person charged with evaluating the subordinate. If a relationship develops, the supervisor involved is responsible to immediately disclose the existence of the relationship in writing to their supervisor and department head. Complaint resolution procedure. Misunderstandings or conflicts can arise in any organization. To ensure effective working relations, it is important that such matters be resolved before serious problems develop. Most incidents resolve themselves naturally. However, should a situation persist that you believe is detrimental to you or the city, you should follow the procedures described here by bringing your complaint to your manager's or others' attention. Step 1. Discussion of the problem with your immediate supervisor is encouraged as the first step. If, however, you don't believe a discussion with your supervisor is appropriate, you may proceed directly to Step 2. Step 2. If your problem is not resolved after discussion with your supervisor, or if you feel discussion with your supervisor is inappropriate, you are encouraged to request a meeting with your department head. For discharges or transfers because of a layoff, reorganization, or other non-disciplinary reason, the department head is the final level of review. For discharges, suspensions for more than 2 days without pay, or involuntary transfers from one position to another with less remuneration because of disciplinary issues, the department head is not the final level of review. Step 3. If you are not satisfied with your department head's decision regarding a discharge, suspension for more than 2 days without pay, or involuntary transfer to a position with less remuneration because of a disciplinary issue, and you are a regular employee, you may appeal the decision to the appeal board. The appeal board shall be made up of 3 or more persons appointed by the mayor. The city does not tolerate any form of retaliation against employees availing themselves of this procedure. Contact your supervisor or human resources for more details about this process. Last but not least is the city vehicle use authorization for those employees that need it. We thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Thank you.